How feminism connects to the story A Rose for Emily. Many women in feminist stories reside in the archetypal culture. Many of women in the feminist stories reside in archetypal cultures where young marriages are frequently shown for female characters. Like the story A Rose for Emily by William Faulkner, where women are dependent on men, and portrays the main character Emily, who has been neglected by the patriarchal society at the price of her mental health, which supports feminist viewpoints. First of all, Emily is the protagonist of A Rose for Emily, displaying all the masculine reliances throughout the narrative. According to her, her father is still alive. She did this for 3 days. Despite the calls from the minister and attempts from physicians or doctors to convince her to allow them to dispose of the body, they just prepared to use force, and the law broke down and they buried her father. This demonstrates Emily's persistent belief that she needs a masculine leadership and would be drafted without it because it's expected of a woman to depend on males. This is prepared to restrain her father's corpse. For it, she would have done anything. Emily was adamant about finding a boyfriend since she felt somewhat excluded. In order to confirm the social norms, Emily therefore adopts two distracted steps. It is clear that Emily's father was a significant impact on her, that she was under his control and incapable of resisting partial power. Her father was astraddle in the foreground. His back was turned to her, clutching a horsewhip. Indicates that he does not care about Emily's desire and is unwilling to communicate with her, so he makes it a resolution on Emily's destiny. Secondly, Emily's dread of being abandoned once more, leading to the kind of apparent Homer Barman, a Yankee and a day worker who her father would strongly approve of, enters into a relationship with her despite his public declarations that he was not a man who would get married. Eventually promoted by her fear of being abandoned again, Emily poisons him. She's empowered of making her own decisions rather than submitting to a man's judgment about her, while choosing undoubtedly and morally or legally correct. It demonstrates Miss Emily's transformation, despite the fact that their relationship is against the law because they're from different towns or villages, and a relationship between a woman before marriage is forbidden. Despite this, Emily defines social conversation and pursues her love regardless of the law. She defines conversations and the rules in an effort of following her passion for Homer Barron. Emily travels in a persistent path of a mental instability when he leaves her. In the end, she murders Barron and keeps his body in her home, where she would live out the rest of her days with the corpse of her boyfriend. Finally, a mayor who fathered the rule that no mere African woman should appear on the streets without an apron. It's only one example of the town's lengthy history of assigning its citizens to gender-specific tasks. The impressions is left behind that women are supposed to be crucial, less educated, better suited in the kitchen, when the same major strikes deal in Emily's father involved in the loan exchange and future taxes that only women could have believed. The computer also imposes gender stereotypes on males, as seen as assumption that Tobe, Emily's manservant, is blaming her when her house begins to smell after she killed her romantic interest. just as any guy, according to the woman, could have maintained a kitten correctly. They asserted. Emily and her family displayed a certain amount of feminism by rejecting the norms that the society has imposed on each gender. Overall, the process of Emily's transformation from a lady to a devil that is overcome by human nature and the feminization in its patriarchal society and ancient traditions. Misfortune serves a minor for woman's powerlessness and physical-logical disorientation for patriarchal society arose for Emily's a tale of a lady who was victimized and deceived by the sexual political system. As Fred Kulmer puts it, Emily is a fighting for survival while being opposed by society. Arts, so craft culture, practical society. From Emily's result, developing feminism awareness became frantic and a war, despite the fact that she had taken a bold, huge step. Yet her emergence of feminist consciousness offers a fresh hope for women's rights. Hence, emerging of feminism is a symbol of a legal legacy to the South and a goal to rebel and fight for established morals and of the entire South, and establish defenders and advice for new nation gender equality, protecting women's rights, and grants women fair and unrestricted rights in society. Establish defenders and advice for the new nation of gender equality, protecting women's rights, and grant women's fair and unrestricted rights in society.